Hey, mamas, it's your girl Carrie, and welcome back to another episode of Mom Life, Career Life. This week's topic actually comes from one of our listeners. And I love hearing from you, and especially love it when someone reaches out and tells me what they're struggling with because that is what the show is all about. I am here to help you. I'm really just that DM away. So if you don't follow me on Instagram, you can go over and click that follow button. I'm at mom.wife.career.life, or come and join our Facebook community, Work Life Balance for Working Moms. That link is also in the show notes too. And that is a space for you to ask me or fellow moms just like you any questions or for support or for tips, really anything. And it's completely free. But this particular mom reached out to say that she struggles with overthinking and making decisions. And I know that is something we can all totally relate to, spending hours debating between two options, overanalyzing every outcome, replaying those old conversations in our heads, or mentally drafting 10 backup plans just in case. So if decision making feels like a full-time job or you're always second guessing yourself, this episode is totally for you because indecision, it isn't just annoying. It can be absolutely exhausting. It's draining your time, your energy, and really your confidence. And we don't have time to waste. And some of that overthinking comes from really lack of boundaries. Boundaries are how you protect your energy, protect your time, and your mental clarity so you can show up in the ways that actually matter, not just react to everything that's being asked of you. And if that's something you struggle with, then let's be real, who doesn't? I've got you. Download my free Boundaries Made Simple guide. It's packed with guilt-free scripts, mindset shifts, and those confident boosting reminders that will help you say no without second guessing and say yes only when it actually aligns to what really matters to you, because you don't need permission to protect your peace. You don't need to keep everyone happy to be a good mom, a good employee, a good friend, a good daughter. You just need to start choosing you a little more often. The link is in the show notes. Go grab it. It's your first step towards clear decisions, less mental clutter, and how to really stop overthinking. And now let's jump in to the rest. Are you feeling overwhelmed trying to juggle all the many hats you wear as a working mom? Do you want more quality time with your family without distraction of work and time alone to take care of yourself and your needs? Welcome to Mom Wife Career Life. I'm Carrie, a wife, mom of 3, and a recovering perfectionist. In this podcast, I will teach you how to create balance in your life by implementing healthy habits, organizing your home and your schedule, being intentional with your time and in your relationships, and most importantly, how to start putting your needs first, because no one can pour from an empty cup. Grab that second cup of coffee, or if you're anything like me, your third. It's time to dive into today's episode of Mom Wife Career Life. First, let's really normalize this. Overthinking is a protective mechanism, kind of like worrying, which if you didn't check out episode 228, you should definitely check that one out. I'll link that in the show notes as well. But when you overthink things, your brain thinks it's keeping you safe by weighing every possible outcome. But instead of clarity, you end up with confusion and mental clutter, and it's absolutely exhausting. And let's be real, overthinking can show up everywhere. Sometimes it's the big stuff like choosing the right daycare, deciding if it's time to switch jobs, or figuring out if you're ready to start a side hustle or a podcast like me. And other times it's really just choosing what's for dinner. And I mean, I am terrible at restaurants. I always have been since I was little. Too many choices is instant overwhelm for me. And I always overthink it. Like, what if I order the salmon, but the pasta would have been better? Or worse, I get FOMO when Russ orders the better dish, which, let's be honest, he usually does. That man has some sixth sense for good menu picks. And he actually knows me better than myself. So now I just ask him, what do you think I should get? Sometimes I might narrow it down to 2 or 3 options that kind of sound appealing, and I let him decide. And sometimes we'll order 2 different things. He'll order one thing, I'll order something, and then we'll split it. And then we get the best of both worlds. So that's really the best problem solved. But not all decisions are a menu and are that simple. And some come with much higher stakes than whether or not your meal is really satisfying. So let's talk about how we can stop the overthinking spiral and start making decisions we can actually feel good about without second guessing ourselves. First, you're going to set a time limit for decisions. Overthinking loves to drag out decisions. So here's a little mindset shift for you. Not all decisions deserve the same amount of your time and your energy. So let's break it down into 3 levels: small, medium, and big. Small decisions should take 5 to 10 minutes max. These are the everyday choices that really do not need to take that much energy. We're talking about what to make for dinner, what to wear to work, which movie to watch for a family movie night. Pick one, move on. Your mental energy is way too valuable to waste a 30-minute debate over a Taco's versus pizza. So save your energy for the big ones. Medium decisions, I say 24-hour window. These are those small ones that might hold a little more weight. Maybe they cost money, impact your calendar, or involve your kids, or worse, your time. So here's your rule: 24 hours, that's it. Let it sit, think it through, then make the call. Some examples are that Amazon cart full of those organizing hacks that some influencer made look really cool on Instagram. Add them to your cart, give it a day. And if it still feels worth it tomorrow and you've actually thought through whether they will actually work in your space, go for it. If not, delete it and thank yourself later. I've literally saved myself hundreds of dollars doing this. Another example is signing your kids up for another activity. And this one's real. When they're little, you sign them up for everything because you want them to find their thing. But really, I found by third or fourth grade, they start to know what really lights them up and what doesn't. So give yourself 24 hours max to decide. And side note, involve your kids in the decision making too if they're old enough. If it's something that doesn't light them up, save your time and your headache and move on to something that they might actually enjoy. If it's going to be a weekly battle to get them in a car, save your sanity and pick something else. Or better yet, maybe don't pick anything at all. Leave some breathing room in your week and you don't have them in so many activities. And last, choosing an Airbnb. And I say this one because if you're anything like me, you click through 17 properties, you've read all the reviews, and if you wait too long, the one you really want will end up being booked and you're going to be stuck with the ones that you're not so excited about. So go with your gut. And then we're moving on to big decisions. Big decisions, you should give 3 days to a week, but you need to have a plan in place to help you make those decisions. These are the kind of decisions that deserve a more thoughtful reflection, but without dragging on for weeks and analysis paralysis. Some examples of big decisions are maybe changing schools or daycares for your child. This one definitely deserves a few days, if not a week, to weigh logistics, emotional readiness, practical needs, your budget, how to get them to and from, maybe the programs they have, the teachers, the class side, the diversity. There's so many things that go into picking a daycare or a school, but don't let it all consume you, but take time to really think about it. And your plan should involve talking to other moms, taking a tour of the place, and that way you get a feel for it and learn to trust your gut. Another big decision could be deciding whether to go for a promotion at work or switching jobs. You want to give yourself time with this one to consider the trade-offs. More pay, but more hours, more visibility, but more pressure. And really ask yourself if the promotion or changing jobs would help you get closer to the life that you're trying to create. Maybe your goal is to get a bigger house and it would help you get that bigger house, but the trade-off is longer hours and less time with your kids. Is that worth it? Or maybe it is short term. Maybe taking the job and busting your butt for a year and banking the money would make a huge difference. And you can always get a less demanding job once you have the house. Or maybe it's an eye opener that you would rather stay put where you are and have more time with your kids. Actually, this time last year was when I was debating on whether to take a lateral move or not, which basically means I'm switching jobs for the same pay. And just a funny side note, I did take that job because my current manager at the time was moving and she would be my new manager in my new role. And I already knew we worked great together. So it was kind of a no-brainer. And this role, I wouldn't have any direct reports, which after 20 years of managing people seemed like such a breath of fresh air. Well, 3 months into the new role, my manager gets a promotion in the group we just left from. So now I have a new manager and I'll probably have direct reports by the end of this year. But at least right now, I still think I made the right choice. And it also comes down to trusting God's plan, which I have 1000% faith that I'm exactly where I am meant to be. But moving jobs is really a tough decision. So you need to come up with your plan, write down the things that are important to you, and really weigh them out. It's tough, but a 3 to 5 day window can help you process with clarity instead of spiraling with the what-ifs. And another example of a big decision, which I love this one personally, making a move towards entrepreneurship. This one's really personal. A decision like wanting to leave your job or starting a side hustle really requires intentional thinking and planning, but you can still give yourself a deadline to decide. You don't have to have it all figured out, but ask yourself, what step can I make this month? Am I signing up for a course, booking a strategy session, blocking time to just dream and plan, but don't overthink yourself into staying stuck. And just a bonus tip overall with making any decision, if the decision won't matter in 5 months or even 5 days, then it does not need 5 hours of your brain space today. Moving on to number 2. I know number 1 was a pretty long one, but number 2, decide your decision style. Are you someone who needs all the facts and data, or do you tend to follow your intuition? And maybe you're a mix of both. Knowing your style really helps you avoid the trap of second guessing. If you're a gut feeler, just trust your instincts. If you're data driven, gather just enough info and then decide. The goal is to understand what you need to feel comfortable with your decision, not what everyone else thinks you should do. Or you can be a mix like me. I'm big on intuition, but I'm also a data nerd. So I try to do a little research and then I go with my gut. Number 3, practice small decisions daily. The way to really build your intuition and your confidence is in low stakes scenarios. So work on little things like picking your outfit out for the day in 60 seconds. Choose your lunch without scrolling reviews for 20 minutes. The more you prove to yourself that you can decide quickly and move on and there's not big consequences, the more confidence you build towards those bigger choices. Think of it as doing reps at a decision making gym. Number 4, limit your options. Decision fatigue is a real thing. Instead of looking at 10 options, try to narrow it down to 2 or 3. For example, if you're choosing a preschool, start by eliminating the places that really don't align to your values or your logistics. Then compare your top 2. Ask yourself, if both worked out perfectly, which one am I more excited about? I also do this with the kids because they are totally like me. And if we have something to do, somewhere to eat, or to watch something, I don't give them a ton of options because it will literally take forever to make a decision. Number 5, trust your intuition. Let's talk about that voice that too many of us have learned to ignore, your intuition or your gut. It really is so much wiser than you give it credit for. And I know what you're thinking, but what if my gut is wrong? But just ask yourself, how many times have you overruled your gut only to look back and go, I knew it? Your intuition is your inner knowing, and it's made up of all the experiences you've collected, the values you hold, the lessons you've learned. And it shows up as that like slight tension in your chest when something just feels off, or that calm confidence when something clicks, or that nagging hesitation when you're about to say yes to something you really want to say no to. And we're all guilty of this one, I know. But here's the thing. When you learn to trust it, decision making gets a whole lot easier. Not necessarily easier in a way that's comfortable, because sometimes that intuition requires you to make a decision that might upset other people, but it's easier in a way that it just feels right. It feels true. For example, I was once offered a job outside of my company that was paying almost double what I was making, but the work from home flexibility just, it wasn't there. The money was so good that we really had to make a pros cons list and put a dollar value to things that I would be giving up, like time with the kids. It was a great job, and the ambitious side of me really wanted that company on my resume. I wanted the title, I wanted the pay, I wanted the responsibility. But that gut instinct told me that I needed to pass, that the money just wasn't worth it. It was so hard to turn down, but I had to follow my gut. And honestly, many years later, I'm so glad I did, because staying with my company allowed me to move into a fully remote role before remote working was really even a thing, where I got even more time with my kids, which to me is priceless. So I have zero regrets. Number 6, stop asking everyone else's opinion. It's really tempting to text 5 friends for input. Like, they might think of something that you haven't thought of, but all that noise can really drown out your own intuition. So try this. Make your decision privately first. Then, if needed, you could check in with one person that you really trust, not a whole panel. And trust your partners too. Russ and I never make a decision that might impact our family or our budget without consulting each other. Well, sometimes he makes a decision to schedule the dog's grooming session for when he's working in the city without asking me if the time works for me, but he learned not to do that after the second time. I love you, Russ. I do, if he's listening. But your partner should be your go-to. And if not your partner, then the person whose advice you trust and has worked out for you in the past. But if it comes down to you feeling like you need someone to validate your decision, then we really need to work on your confidence and trusting in yourself. You shouldn't need anyone's validation in life. Number 7, visualize the best case scenario. We often default to what might go wrong, but what if everything went right? Our overthinking, when you really think about it, is fear based on what could go wrong. And I'm a firm believer in manifesting. I have a freebie, a goal manifesting planner that gives you all the prompts to help you manifest what you want in life. But for example, if there is a job opportunity, try picture yourself thriving, learning, feeling proud. Let that energy fuel your decision instead of fear. One of the things I'm currently manifesting is speaking on a stage in front of a huge audience, something that honestly gets my anxiety in a complete twist when I think about it. but I want to be a motivational speaker for working moms. I want to be on a stage looking at all of you out in the audience with hope-filled eyes. And I picture myself on that stage with a big smile, with such confidence and looking fit and put together, because I'm also trying to manifest myself back into a size 10. But I close my eyes and I picture what it looks like, what I look like, what I'm wearing. And for some reason in my vision, I'm wearing a skirt suit with high heels, but that is so not me. And honestly, I don't think all the manifesting in the world will ever get me to wear a pair of heels that aren't wedges or have a chunky heel again. I don't know how women wear spiked heels. Like, do we have different feet, or do you really just deal with the discomfort? Sorry, a little tangent, but my point is just lose yourself in visualizing that best case scenario, because it can really feel pretty amazing. Just make sure you're wearing comfy shoes while you do it. Number E, embrace imperfect action. And this one is for all of you perfectionist moms out there. I used to be you, so I'm speaking from experience. So many of us are stuck in this cycle of, I can't start until I have it all figured out. But the truth is, clarity did not come from thinking. It comes from doing. And that means doing it messy, doing it imperfect, and doing it awkward. Perfectionism is a roadblock, and it's disguised as productivity. We tell ourselves that we're preparing, or we're researching, or we're waiting for the right time, when really we're avoiding the discomfort of getting it wrong. And really, most decisions aren't permanent. They're just pivots, they're experiments, they're feedback opportunities and lessons in disguise. So start the thing, make the call, try the routine, send that email, record an episode, launch an offer, book the call, say the yes or the no, and trust that you're going to figure it out as you go. Because the truth is, you'll learn more by doing than thinking about doing every single time. And this podcast is a perfect example. When I launched it, I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't have any fancy equipment. I actually still don't. I'm still just a mom with a mic and a computer that works full time and records on her downtime, not really downtime, morning time. And I didn't have a polished strategy. All I knew was that I wanted to help and to connect with other moms. And I just started. And was it awkward at first? Absolutely. Just go listen to some of my first couple of episodes. But I kept going. And honestly, I'm still learning as I go. Number 9, create anchor questions. Anchor questions are those go-to mindset reset tools that can help pull you out of that overthinking spiral and get you back in line with your values and what really matters. Some examples, and we touched on a couple of these, but ask yourself, what would I do if I trusted myself? What decisions align with the version of me I want to become? Will this matter 5 years from now? Is this fear or intuition? What decision will I feel proud of 1 week from now? Am I choosing out of love or out of fear? If success were guaranteed, what would I do? And this one is my absolute favorite. What would I tell my daughter to do? And this one gets me every time, because when I think about what I would tell Ashley, Kaylee, or even Michael in the future, I would never want them to choose out of fear or especially out of pressure. I want them to lead with courage, with kindness, and really with clarity. So why do we think we don't deserve that same permission? So ask yourself, would I tell my daughter to stay in the job that drains her because it's a safe option? Would I tell her to ignore her gut just to please someone else? Would I tell her she needs to get everyone's approval before she makes a move? Absolutely not. So don't do it to yourself. And last but not least, number 10, check the root of your indecision. Overthinking usually has a root cause, and it's usually tied to anxiety or people pleasing. The mental spin of, what if I disappoint someone? The fear of making the wrong choice and then being judged. The need to double check, if not quadruple check, before you hit send, say yes or say no. Sound familiar? Indecision is often just fear. Fear of messing up, fear of letting people down, fear of wasting money, fear of not being seen as the good mom, the reliable one, the helper. And while those fears are completely valid and very human, we shouldn't let them drive our decision, because the longer you stay stuck in that loop, the more your confidence is going to take a hit, and the more your time, your peace, and your energy gets spent meeting everyone else's needs instead of honoring your own. And that's really where those boundaries come in. And like I said before, boundaries are how you protect your time and your energy and your mental clarity so that you could show up in ways that actually matter. So again, grab my Boundaries Made Simple guide. It will help you in this area. But here's what I want you to remember. You are wise, you are capable, and the more you trust yourself, the easier it becomes to move forward, even when it's not perfect. So the next time you catch yourself spiraling into overthinking, take a deep breath. ask one of those anchored questions that resonated with you, and make the choice that feels the best. If this episode gave you courage to decide something today, big or small, come on over to our free Facebook community, Work-Life Balance for Working Moms, and let me know. And if you don't already follow the show, take a second and hit that follow button so you never miss another episode. Sending you so much love and light until next time on Mom Life, Career Life with Carrie Pat. Before you go, if you found this podcast helpful, I would be so grateful if you would take a minute, go on over to iTunes and leave me a review. If you have other stressed out mamas in your life that you feel this podcast could help, take a screenshot of this episode, post it on your Instagram stories and tag me, and let them know that they are not alone and they can create balance in their life too. If there's a topic you'd like me to cover or you just want to connect, DM me on Instagram at mom.wife.career.life or come on over and hang out in our free Facebook community, Work-Life Balance for Working Moms. Sending you so much love and light until next time on Mom Life Career Life with Carrie Pat.